Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the second series of Ethnocultural Democracy. My name is Maitre Mola Alex Ndive Lisinge, and I'm the leader of the BCNP political party. Welcome to this second edition of Ethnocultural Democracy. Ethnocultural democracy is about originality. It's about equality. It's about who you are. This my message goes mostly to African countries who have imported certain democracy that doesn't work for its citizens, for its people, for its Homo sapiens. So, we of the BCNP party, we have come up with a form of democracy that will work for Africans. We have seen Africans today, they have gone to the extent that they have to change the texture of their hair, the color of their skin, their lips. This does not make them look like the Western people. That's what we are doing when it comes in terms of politics in Africa. Originality is very important in Africa because when you look at most developed countries or countries that are developing or new developed countries like Asia, China, Japan, Malaysia, Singapore, they practice their ethnocultural democracy. Yes, they import some form of democracy from the West, but it depends. You cannot change your whole culture and take 99% of a foreign culture. The Malaysians, the Chinese, the Indians, the Pakistani, all these countries, they don't do away with their culture. I take you today in a country in Central Africa, which is my country, Cameroon. Most people in Cameroon, they are fighting for what? Anglophone and Francophone culture. Today, if you ask an average Cameroonian, they will tell you that the official language is what? French and English. They have failed to understand that we in Cameroon, we are multilingual. We have failed to understand that we have indigenous culture and want to impose the French and English culture. For over 60 years, that culture has failed because we have based our democracy on colonial democracies. We have based our democracy like a fish out of water. And if you see today, most of us in African countries, we lack the technology. We cannot convert our raw materials like gold, diamond, raw materials into finished product. This is because we have imported a democracy from the Western culture that made us as Africans, as slaves forever. Today in Africa, most of us, we don't talk about technology. We talk only about raw materials, selling it to the Western world. Today in Africa, after the so-called independence more than 60 years, the Muzungu are still producing our malaria medicine and most medication. That tells you that we imported a system that is destroying our economy. Before the arrival of the Muzungu in Africa, our forefathers, they had their medication. They had their way of life. They practice their ethnocultural democracy. But today, when you talk about your origin, your tribe, who you are, in quotes, they will say in Africa or in Cameroon that you're tribalistic. How is it a crime to say you are English in the Western world? How is it a crime to say you are Scottish in the Western world? How is it a crime to say you are Italian in the Western world? Or how is it a crime to say you are Irish? You cannot be tribalistic by being who you are. Your tribe is who you are. So it is this ethnocultural democracy that we're trying to introduce rather back in Africa, so that Africans, they should be proud of who they are, and they should look into a democracy that fit into their society, not about importing failed colonial democracy. Because democracy in life is not only about voting, it's about the economic, it's about the hospital, it's about your indigenous culture. Because, as I will tell you this, I'm sure most people don't know about this, nobody should try to change you from who you are. What we do in any democracy, be it ethnocultural democracy or Western democracy, you have to make laws, and the laws are there to regulate the citizens, the people or members. And this law could be imposed in case you fail to respect the law. You will face penalty. That's what you do. You cannot be complaining that somebody is talking about his tribe, because that's who you are. You should be proud to say you're from Mandu, you're a Bayangi person. You should be proud to say you're from Mankon. That is you. That's your own Englishness. That's your own Italianness. That's your own Irishness. You shouldn't say it's tribalism, because we are all born from a family, a tribe, which make up a country. So what we need to do as a human being, we are all irrational. Sometimes we are unfair. You make laws that govern our society so that each tribe, each ethnicity will live peacefully, not by saying that you are not a Bakwerian, you are not a Betty, you are not a Bulu. Those are colonial mentality that the colonial power made us to deny and refuse ourselves. We must accept ourselves. We must be who we are, and our democracy must center around our culture. I bet you today in Cameroon, 95% of every tribe, they do practice their culture, their dance, their traditional food. They speak their dialect. So why are you running away from who you are? You're already practicing it. So once more, welcome and thanks for listening. Let's go back to ethnocultural democracy. Thank you very much once more. I've been Maitre Mola Alex Niveli Singer for the BCNP Political Party.